Hi everyone, this is Pedro from Pythonist again. So today I'm gonna give you a good overview of what is window function in SQL. Actually, I'm gonna use like the dialect T-SQL, which is the dialect used in SQL Server Microsoft. There's a database called AdventureWorks, and just for this example, I'm just gonna use a transaction or a fact table, maybe not more a transaction than a fact table, which is going to be ideal to demonstrate what a window function is. So window function, it's a very powerful, maybe intermediate level SQL. After you learn probably select the joins, probably the next interesting topic if you already learned the basic is window function. Okay, let's get started. I'm just gonna show you, let me just open here a window. I'm gonna use much less rows. I'm just gonna get a few columns. I'm gonna get say order ID, say order detail ID, and other quantities. So just those three columns will be enough. And just let make it simple, just remove the schema. And then, okay, let's see how this one looks. Let's query this. It's not a big table. Let me just, it's 121,000 rows, okay? So if you know aggregation, just the classic group by. So if I wanted to do like some, let's do only the one column, just do sum. Order quantity, and then it's gonna give you a total for that for the whole column. But the question is, what if I wanted to do something like this? I wanted to know the sum in a new column here, a sum for all those rows, but as a column here. That's where window function comes. I can use that same aggregation function, like say sum, and then I can put order quantity, and then I use the keyword over. Let's see what's going to happen when we do this. All right, I have the total for the whole table, but I have every single row. Okay, sometimes this may be interesting to have, but let's understand what are the parameters that you can pass in over. If you see the IntelliSense, which is not working, but you can go to the documentation of over. I'm just gonna bring it here. All right, the over to SQL clause. So you can get lots of arguments, but basically you do a partition by, and then you have order by clause. And then we also will learn the rows and range. I'm just going to go step by step and show all of them. So let's start with the over and the partition. So in this example here, I have if I do only over without any argument, I have the total for all these columns here. Let's call it as total. But let's say I want just a partition by sales order ID. Okay, just from this to this row. All right, so let's go partition by, and then I get this column. Let's see what happens. I'll call it by partition. Right? Yeah. So that's 26. That's the total from this start to this end. And then the next argument, it's the order by. And then let's order by sales order detail ID. Can you see that this is a unique transaction. Let's order by sales. I'm just gonna copy here. It's gonna be easy. I don't have to type. And just give a space. Let's see what happens. And then you can do ascending or descending, but the default is ascending. I think let's just make it shorter and then you can read it. Yeah. Right. So look what happens here. It's like a cumulative running sum. But why is that? So how do you control the behavior of the aggregation in this window? So that's when the next arguments come into place. So there are two ways, there are two syntax to write it. There is the range and there is the row. So you can use either, and the syntax is very similar, but the row one probably is easier to understand and is also has got, you can do like moving averages, and I'll show you with an example. So now you need to understand why this one is a running sum, how this works as it goes row by row in this order. And then let's show on the documentation what is the default for the range when you use over. And then let me open it again. If you go to the order by, you can see it is specified and rows range is not, if rows range is not specified, then the default argument is range, unbounded, preceding, and current row. Let's write this. Copy, and then let's start a new line and put it here. So if I pass the, what's the problem? I have something wrong with my syntax. Range, I think I'm missing I think it needs to be range between. Let me just copy from my cheat sheet. Yeah, I think now it should work. So if I do that, I produce the same result, but I think they should be current row. All right. So if I put current row, what does it mean is that, so from the first row, which is the first of the order, I'm getting preceding unbounded. Unbounded means that I'm going to the first row, to the current row. But on the first row, the unbounded preceding and the current row is the same. So that's 1. So on the second row, the unbounded preceding is this one, and the current row is this. That's why it is a cumulative. But if I do unbounded following, that's gonna be a bit useless. Oops, needs to be following here. And then it's gonna be from here to here, all the rows. So that's the same of writing like this. Oh, sorry, by partition. My goodness, like this. All right. Now let's see the syntax of row instead of range. So it's pretty much the same. You write rows with s between unbounded preceding and current row. And then that's the cumulative again. But why they would have two syntax if it does the same thing? The difference is that with the row, you can say how many preceding and how many following. The range, you can only write either unbounded preceding, unbounded following, or and current row. You cannot say the previous two rows. That's when it comes handy if you wanted to do a rolling sum. Let me show you how you do it. So you can do sum of current order, rows between 5 preceding and current row. Let's see what happens with this one. So what's gonna happen is it's gonna look back 5 rows, not including the current one. So that's gonna be 1, that's gonna be 4 because you look back 1, 1, and then including the current one, but let's count 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think you need to count 6. So this one is going to look 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is 9. So if you sum that, it's 9. But if I move 1, it's still going to be 9 because it's going to look only 5, like 1, 2, 3, 4, up to here. So that's like a 5-period rolling moving average. And then you can do between 5 preceding and 2 following as well. Let's see. Yeah, and then it looks back and forward. So for this one, let's say 1 to the 6 one, this one, it's gonna look here 5 plus 2 forward. That's 6. That's 13. So 9 plus 4 is 13. So before it was 9 here. All right, so that's the basic arguments to use with aggregation sums. You can use with sum, with average, and lots of things. Let me show you other very useful one called ranking. And then I'm gonna just copy and paste from my cheat sheet here because it's gonna be quicker, and then I don't want the to go too far. So you can, I'm using aggregation functions, and then I'm using this one called rank. Let's see what it does. So I'm still doing partition by sales order ID. I'm ordering by sales order ID and order quantity descending. Because I want to see a ranking, the ones that has got more quantity to do it, the ones that has got less quantity. Let's see what happens. Oops. So let's see. This is the top one. This order is 6. And then the one with 4 items. So that's the second ranking. But when I have a tie, this is going to be third, but then the next one is the fifth, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So when you say rank, if you play golf, it's like the PGA Tour, how they rank the shots on their par, from the last to the highest. But using this, there's another version which is called dense rank, but this one, it's not dense rank. Oops, I put rank. Okay. If I do dense rank, it don't jump. It goes 1, 2, 3, 3, and then 4. It's not 5. And then once this is a tie, and then the next one in the sequence is 5. So that's how rank and dense rank works. So another one that's very useful is the one that it's probably the most used, which is the row number. So if you want to create a window ordering the same thing, but you wanted to have row number, so that's, oops, I made some mistake here. I'm missing the from clause, of course. So that does the partition, order by sales order ID and sales order detail. And then that's called the number of rows. So that's the first, second, according to this order here. You can put more than one columns. So, and in between the arguments, there is no comma, but if you pass more than one column, you have to separate that by a comma. And then why you can do this sometimes, let's say you wanted to filter the in this order, you want to see the first purchase, how many quantities the person bought. And then what you can do, you can create that as a subquery. And then call it whatever you want. And then you go select from. And then that's a subquery where, and then you get order equals 1. And then that's going to be the top one, because you have to do a subquery, because if you try to do this, you can, let's try to do where order, it's not going to work because the select is evaluated later. So that's going to be a problem. Yeah, invalid column because it's an alias. But if I try to put the row number in a where clause, look, it's not gonna work either. You see, it's gonna say window with function can only appear in the select or order bar clause. That's why you need to do a subquery. And just to finish, I'm going to tell another two which are very useful, which is another four. I'll do very quickly. One is the lag, which look backwards, and then you have to pass either up to 3 arguments. I'm passing just one here, 2. So it says look back only 1 from the current one. The current one is 3. From this one, there is nothing behind on this window, and then it's null. So, and then when another window starts, it's a null. And then there is the brother or sister, which is the lead, which looks forward. 1. And then there is another one called first value, which gets the first value in the window. For example, on this window here, the first value is 6 of the order quantity. So because it's the default unbounded preceding current row, the first is always going to be 6. But be careful when you're going to do last value, because on the last value, if it's the unbounded preceding current row, it's not going to be the last, it's going to be always the current. It's going to be look like a running sum. Let's remove this one. You see? But that's why you need to put unbounded preceding, unbounded following. I just want to see the last item in the whole window, and then it's going to be the last item. It depends on how you want to achieve. Okay, basically window functions. I gave you an overview where you're going to have the tools to solve lots of problems of aggregates in Windows. Okay guys, thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed the video. If there's any question, you can put down on the description. And before I go, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and give a thumbs up and like the video. Click the bell. Thank you very much for watching.